The secret of Jesus in keeping himself sane, not just sanely, is that he make time to pray. Prayer is a very important routine in our personal life if we want to be effective apostles and ministers of the Lord. Otherwise, we will fall into all kinds of temptations, unhappiness, resentment, quarrels, misunderstanding, even with people that we work with. We become irritable, we become ambitious, egoistic, instead of trying to be nice, to be good, to be loving. And this is all because very often we feel burnout and we feel tired and also very often unappreciated. And that is why we tend to allow the human demons, as we have said, to come out of us. And I think it's very important for us to learn to control the negative elements in our spiritual life. While prayer is very important, it's also very important for us to know how we should pray. Should we say the rosary, maybe divine mercy? That is, of course, one way of praying. The other is just to read the scripture text, to meditate, to get new insights. But how did Jesus pray? What do you think Jesus' prayer to the Father would be like? Prayer, we know, is basically a relationship. Prayer is simply pouring out our needs. It's a conversation with the Lord. That is basically prayer. Prayer is a conversation. And I'm sure that when Jesus was praying, the first thing is to bask himself in the love of God. I think that's the most important part of prayer. Just being present to God, allowing the love of God to fill our hearts, just being aware of his presence itself is a healing, itself is empowering. And sometimes we go to a quiet place and just sitting down or just being silent, just trying to feel his sacred presence itself is a very powerful form of prayer. To know that the Lord is with you and to know that you are being basked in his love. That is where we draw strength. Most important aspect of prayer is actually availing ourselves, making ourselves available to the presence and his love. That is the first aspect of prayer. And that is what we do in our relationship. If we are with someone who is a loving person, someone who is kind, someone who is feeling with us, that is how we begin to open up. When there are differences and there are difficulties, we have to put on the mind of Christ. How to look at our brothers and sisters with compassion, with forgiveness, with tolerance, with acceptance, and also with humility, So this is where we look at people's situation. It's not easy all the time. So unless we put on the mind of Christ, unless you see your brothers and sisters with the mind of Christ, you cannot be forgiving. You will not be reconciling. But if you have the heart of Jesus, the mind of Christ, even when people make mistakes, even when people are wrong, you're willing to forgive, you're willing to let go, willing to start again, and you want to pray for the person because your concern is, have I helped this person? Am I a brother to this person? And I bringing the love of God to this person? That is our concern. Our concern is not whether I'm hurt, whether I'm wounded, whether he has been unjust to me, but whether we have been the instrument of God's love. But we cannot do this. It's impossible unless the Lord fuses, unless the Lord gives us the strength. And so this is where I think the spirit of prayer is very important to help us to remain humble, to be forgiving, and most of all, always putting on the mind of Christ in working with each other.